Hello and welcome to the MiniMapCast. This is minimap.com.au's weekly games podcast, your favorite weekly games podcast. My name is Kerry Palmer, and joining me as always is Jeremy Bratatich.
Hello.
I read out the intro word for word at the start there, and it's taken me this long to realize that it doesn't say what I normally say at the start of the show, which is, welcome everybody. So I'm quickly changing that.
What does it say?
It used to say hello and welcome, which is what I just said.
Right.
And I said it out loud just then, and I felt my skin crawl a little bit. Not that there's anything wrong with it, just that it was different.
Yeah, fair enough.
Change.
Hi, Kerry.
Hey, Jeremy. I feel like I haven't spoken to you in like a week.
It's been about a week.
It's been about a week. I guess what's going to be that there is a tentative plan for 1 week from now. Next time you see me, I may not have any hair on my head anymore.
Oh, that's exciting.
I think it's going to go. I think it's time. I've grown my hair for more than 3 years.
That's funny because I'm also getting my hair is not nearly as long as yours, but I'm planning on getting a haircut tomorrow, and so we will come back next week with
just completely different.
Yeah.
We should also like swap the sides that our squares are on in the video feed.
You have no idea how much that is going to break so much of the production inside.
Oh, I know. I get it. I understand.
Oh,
no. How are you, Jeremy?
I'm good. There is a small nanoblock rip-off cat sitting on my desk.
Nanoblock rip-off?
Yeah, like, you know how like nanoblocks are kind of rip-offs of Lego? Well, there are also rip-offs of nanoblocks.
Oh, mini bricks.
Yeah. How are you? How's things?
Oh, things are good. It's been a week. I spoke last week of my my drowned 3DS and how the screws had stripped, so I couldn't open it. It took us all week, but Sam took to it yesterday and did the method that you suggested, actually. Although I had forgotten that you had suggested till Sam did it. And I was like, oh yeah, Jeremy said we should try that, which is getting a flathead and just kind of grinding the shape of the flathead into the screw with the screwdriver.
Right. I don't know if I suggested that one, but yeah, nice.
I thought you said that. You thought you just like grinding the shape into it with the screwdriver and then getting it out.
Oh no, I meant like drilling through until there is no more screw.
Yeah, you did say that as well. That was on the cards.
Yeah,
we tried super glue, it didn't work.
Damn.
It might have been our super glue. It came with our fridge, and it wasn't a brand new fridge. And we tried so many things. Tried putting tinfoil, rubber bands. I asked my mum whether she had thick rubber bands on my desk right now. These didn't work. They were better than the ones I had.
Yeah.
And the relief I felt when those screws came out, Jeremy,
yeah,
palpable.
Yeah.
Because
nice.
like now the thing's still water damaged, but I at least know to what extent and like to how much. And so now I just need to buy a new battery because the battery did go into the water, and then it'll be fine.
Nice, cool.
And I'll be happy for the rest of my life.
And you're never gonna drop your 3DS in a cut water bowl ever again.
I hope not.
Hope not.
Didn't mean to the first time.
No, and you never go into again.
No, probably not. Probably not. Fingers crossed. Let's start the show. I've also been playing, like, I was writing down the list of things I've played this week before the show, and it was like 7 things long.
Yeah.
Contrast that to last week, where all I had to talk about was I dropped my 3DS in water. So let's start the show. We've got a big meaty topic to get into today as well. So let's get into it. If you weren't aware, this is the MiniMapCast, minimap.com.au's weekly games podcast. We're going to talk about video games as we do every week. The MiniMapCast goes live on all podcast platforms every Wednesday with 24 hours of early access given to all of our wonderful patrons. More on that in a second. If you like what you're hearing so far, make sure you tell your friends, give the show a positive rating wherever you listen to your podcasts. It can make a huge difference to us, and it only takes a couple of seconds for you. If you'd like to get notified every time a new episode is released, you can follow us on social media. The Minimap account is at MiniMapAU on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and also Twitch, where we're live every Monday night, 6:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Nailed it. Yep. For the live recording of the MiniMapCast. We always hang out with chat before and during and after the recording, and we'd love to see you there if you're free. We also wanted to say thank you to Shook for letting us use the Moog Model D Improv as the music for the MiniMapCast. You can listen to more of Shook's music at shook.bandcamp.com. And Finally, MiniMap is completely independent and funded almost entirely out of our own pockets. If you want to help keep the lights and mics on, you can support us by becoming one of our patrons. For only $5 a month, you get 24 hours of early access for all episodes of the MiniMapCast, some extra little bonus features we're cooking up, and more. Head on over to patreon.com/MinimapAU to help us out. And remember, it's cheaper than a latte with oat milk. It's getting even more cheaper than a latte with oat milk as the days progress.
I spent $8.15 on a latte yesterday at the Queen Victoria Market.
Oh my God. How big was it?
Okay, to be fair, it was one of the biggest lattes I've had in a while.
Okay, good.
But
that's good.
It bigger doesn't mean like more coffee. It just means bigger coffee. It wasn't a double shot.
What? Oh, sure. Like it was a big drink, but not more caffeine.
Yeah.
Because I really had to pause that for a second.
Yeah, sorry.
Like, oh, wait, what?
And like, look, it was from a truck. It was at the Queen Vic Market. It was a weekend.
You know what they say about truck coffee?
Well, I mean, look, it was just a guy. It was on the weekend. There would have been a surcharge. I paid with card. There would have been a surcharge on that, right? Like there was like a lot of stuff, but like that,
$8.
That hurt.
I can't believe you still bought it. That would have had me going, no, I don't need it.
Oh, but like I needed it. Like I need it.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. You got to stay away from those beans.
I can't. The damage is done. Like this is with me now.
I like the idea you go to you have your wedding when you get married and you stand there and in one hand you're holding your partner's hand and in the other hand you're holding your coffee.
Yeah.
This is with me now.
All because I was 15 and needing coffee.
15? You started drinking coffee at 15?
I think so. 14.
Oh,
maybe.
Me. So let's talk about the topic of the show today. Today's a fun one. It's a bit of a one we've done before in a different form. No, it's not a Fortnite. It is the game of yesteryear. It's the except we're doing it for 2015 this time. So we're going to be talking about the games of the year that was 2015. And one of the reasons why we picked this one is because we've done a couple of older ones already, and then Jeremy just he just picked one, and I was like, that's the year of this, and this, and he was like, yeah, let's do that. So we're doing it. But for those who aren't aware, the year of 2015 was an exceptionally stacked year for video games. Just some all-timers. So many all-timers came out that year. So what we'll do is we'll go through sort of the games as a general list that came out that year, the ones that we felt were significant enough to write down, as well as Jeremy's written a list of things that happened at E3 that year, things that happened in the gaming industry that year, and then we'll be going over our individual lists of games that we think were the best from that year to get like separately, and then together we'll try and come together and pick a MiniMap 2015 Game of the Year. So we'll just quickly give you the context of what kind of games came out that year, and just think about if you're aware of the review scores, just think about how high these reviewed when you're listening to these names. Okay. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Destiny, The Taken King expansion.
Sorry, my Star Wars brain auto-filled the rest of your sentence when you were going to say Metal Gear 5, and I was like, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Menace. And I was like... So I
don't think anyone ever said that at the time.
No, but my brain like jumped ahead before you had like actually said.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's very funny. Okay, so yeah, The Phantom Pain, Destiny, The Taken King expansion, which is when people say Destiny became good. The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, Fallout 4, Bloodborne, Super Mario Maker, Undertale, Ori and the Blind Forest, Rocket League, Batman Arkham Knight, Nuclear Throne, Crypt of the Necrodancer, Her Story, Rise of the Tomb Raider, exclusive on Xbox at the time, Life is Strange, Cities Skylines, Halo 5 Guardians, Soma, the first Splatoon game, Downwell, and the first EA Star Wars Battlefront game. There were plenty more other games on the list as well, but these were the big heavy hitters. So many of those were in contention for so many different Game of the Year awards at the time, and I've mentioned this numerous times to Jeremy. I might have said it in the chat last week, but this 2015 was the year I remember watching Good Game for their end of year coverage. I wasn't watching like weekly with them, but I watched their end of year coverage, and they didn't pick a Game of the Year that year because the competition was too fierce, and each one was such a like standout game, not just in the industry and within its own genre, but just like as its own sort of like masterpiece kind of a deal. So it was like, you know, Bloodborne is exceptional at what it does. Rocket League is sort of a new esport. Phantom Pain was an incredible take on open world stealth. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt was all the stuff. Fallout 4, like Mario Maker, like there's so much incredible stuff here. It's wild.
Yeah, I remember 2015 as, like, in my mind, 2015 is the year that generation of consoles finally like took off.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like there was a lot of like they released in 2013, like late in 2013. 2014 we were like, there was a lot of just like waiting around, like what are we gonna see? Like, and we
like
were
re-releases and remasters, and middling exclusives like The Order.
Yeah. And they were also very much like in 2014 we started to get a lot of announcements for games that were going to come out the next year. But again, we were still just like almost there. We're almost there. We're almost got a reason for these new expensive pieces of technology to actually have a reason to exist. And 2015 finally like came along. It was like, actually, here's a bunch of reasons you might actually want one of these now.
Yeah, here's some good eats.
Yeah. Do we want to jump into one of our first games?
Yeah, do you want to do, we'll talk, we'll pick our, maybe we'll do our honorable mentions and then we'll talk about the context of the industry.
Let's do honorable mentions just before we do Game of the Year, because I always like the
Yeah. Let's do honorable mentions.
All right. Okay, well, in that case, my honorable mention is Rocket League.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
Fucking phenomenal game.
I'm going to talk about it more later. So tell me why it's not in your top 3.
Because I think that it's like neck and neck with my number 3.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah. Like it is so close. Rocket League launched into PlayStation Plus, which is what gave it that real kick to give everybody a reason to play it. It was when PlayStation Plus became mandatory for PlayStation 4 users if they want to play online. So there was a much larger direct install base for people, and also I think it was also a reason to get excited about monthly games for PlayStation Plus, because it was of a perfect scale for PlayStation Plus that everybody like kind of just like gave it a shot and went like, this is actually really fucking good.
Totally. And it was also the kind of thing where it wasn't too expensive otherwise. So if someone on PlayStation Plus played it and was like, guys, you got to get this, you got to play with me, they could drop $30 and play it. Yeah. Rocket League was a huge release when it came out, but it's gone on to like, it's such a pillar of the industry now in a way, like at least of the esports space. It's such a singularly well executed idea.
Yeah, it's in its own lane, right? Like there's no one that's coming for Rocket League, because Rocket League like perfected what that is. You know, going off their previous titles as well. Like it wasn't their first shot at it. But like Rocket League was like, they did it. Like they made it.
Well, we'll leave it there on that one, and we'll revisit it in a little bit.
Yeah.
What's your other honorable mention?
My other honorable mention, I thought I only had one. My other honorable mention is probably The Taken King. It was the beginning of good Destiny. It was the Destiny 1 launched, and it wasn't much. And what was there was all right, but what wasn't there was like the rest of the fucking game. And the Tekken King came out and was a much better story, a much well put together experience. I remember I was playing the Taken King with someone who is now a video editor for Game Theory.
Wow.
like
wow, there's a dot to dot.
I know, right? I think we still follow each other. And we were both playing it, and we were both like this is great. Where was this last fucking time we played this camp? Like, what is all of this? Why wasn't this what it was like from the beginning?
Yep.
Because it felt naturally like good. Like it wasn't like, oh, like they really tried for it. It was like, no, like you can tell
it was just quality.
Like they knew what they were doing. It's just like the original Destiny project, got restarted, all that stuff. Yeah, Taken King, real fucking cool.
It's not on my list because I didn't play it when it came out, because I went hard on vanilla Destiny, and the mini expansions kind of disappointed, and then I was just kind of done.
Yeah.
And I came back to it when the complete Destiny 1 experience was really cheap in the lead up to 2.
Mm.
And by the time I got to that, I was like, yeah, it's fine. And I remember next to nothing about the Taken King.
Yeah, but you did all of those expansions, I want to say, in a week.
While also replaying the original content as well.
Yeah.
I think much, much, much more fondly on the original content, the original raid experience, the original leveling system, even. I think quite fondly of those, even though they're pretty poorly regarded in nearly every way.
Yeah, I was going to say...
I even miss, blue and purple engram decoding, having to go back to the tower for all your gear. I miss that.
I don't know why, and you have said this so many times, and I will never understand that. I will never.
No one does.
No
one understands me, but that's all right. That's my cross to bear.
What are your honorable mentions?
So yeah, Taken King I recognize as being the point of Destiny's sort of initial. It was the best that Destiny 1 ever was. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just wasn't that for me.
Yeah.
Jeremy, what happened in... Oh, wait, my honorable mention.
Yeah.
Jeremy, don't take a sip of water yet.
Okay.
Because you might spit it everywhere. My first honorable mention is Bloodborne. Because, one, I didn't finish it. So, there's probably a good bit where it's just I don't know how incredible it is yet because I haven't experienced it fully. But also, I didn't play it at the time. I came back to it. I do really appreciate it. And it was the game that made me get Souls games, which I remember that experience vividly. But there's also something rough about going back to it these days. And it being stuck in 2015 as well. It's one of the few games that didn't get brought forward. I want to say Dark Souls 2, which launched on PS3 and Xbox 360, when it got up-resed onto PS4, when it got brought forward to PS4 and Xbox One. I want to say that those games run better than Bloodborne ever did.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, those games run at 60.
Yeah, it's
Bloodborne runs at a hard 30.
Yeah, and lower than 1080p resolution. And now there's Dark Souls Remastered as well. It's and there's Demon Souls Remake. It is now officially just the worst running Souls game, bar none. And there's nothing you could do about it.
Yeah, aside from going on to Lance McDonald's Twitch streams and finding out how he does code inject directly into PlayStation 4 and 5 consoles to get it running at 60, which, according to him, and I have no reason to not believe him, it is a single line of code.
Mm-hmm.
A singular line of code will unlock the frame rate for that game.
God, it sounds like a configuration file or something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Bloodborne's
important. Bloodborne's great, but it's.
I will say yes, it is the hardest to go back to. That being said, I think if you did go back, you'd be used to it in about 10 minutes.
100%. I'm always I played half of Miles Morales on PS5 in quality mode in 30 frames per second. I'm not one to be stuck hard stuck without performance mode. Like I can happily play. Like I was quite happy on my base PlayStation 4 playing God of War and Spider-Man and Last of Us Part 2 at 30 frames per second because that's all it could handle. Horizon. And I was very happy there. And Breath of the Wild even as well. It's great seeing those games run faster and better with the newer consoles and their sequels. But, I'm happy if I can play the good game and it runs okay. So yeah, and the plan is, and always has been and continues to be, to go back at some point.
Yeah, I know.
The other honorable mention I've got here, and I've written, this is kind of a twofer. I've written The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, parentheses, sorry, Fallout.
It's like Fallout didn't make the cut.
Because Fallout didn't make the cut. And I was looking at these lists and I was like, oh man, I played so much Fallout. And then I was like, oh, I played more Witcher though. And then I was like, oh, but Witcher is kind of just like the samey combat. I'm like, yeah, but it does some parts of its game much better than Fallout does any other parts of its game.
I can't believe this was even a competition.
Yeah, it wasn't in my head is the thing. Like, because
Right.
I'm thinking back to 2015, and I did really enjoy Fallout 4 in 2015 when it came out, and
Right.
I had the new computer to go along with it, and like I really dove in. But like it's that classic Bethesda thing for me where I hit a certain number of hours and I closed the game thinking I'd be back the next day or even later that day, and I never turned the game on.
Yeah, you don't realize that was actually the last time you played Fallout 4.
Exactly. And that happened with The Witcher 3 as well, but it happened like 90 hours in as opposed to 30. And The Witcher 3 does so much stuff incredibly. Like the graphics are amazing for a start, and it also looked amazing on my new computer at the time. But the quest writing and just the setting and the ambience, the music is incredible. The amount of time I put into Gwent, like there's a lot that Witcher 3 does right. And revisiting it last year really solidified that for me as well.
Yeah.
All right, Jeremy.
2015.
What else happened in 2015 in the industry, aside from those games releasing that we mentioned?
So for the industry at large, it's pretty packed year for a lot of stuff. Iwata, the head of Nintendo at the time, died at 55 years old.
Was he only 55?
Only 55.
Oh my God, that's awful.
PT was cancelled in March of 2015.
PT was cancelled or Silent Hills was cancelled?
The whole thing. The PT thing happened. The PT taken offline, Silent Hills cancelled. Yeah. That whole Kojima Konami saga really kicked off around then.
Yeah. And let's remember that he had 6 more months left working under them to get his Metal Gear game out.
Yep. Phil Harrison left Microsoft. Now, you might know Phil Harrison as the man who then went on to work.
Harrison.
He's a bald white man. He went on to.
He sure is.
He then went on to start up Stadia. Phil Harrison has had a long line of failed video game projects. And I can't wait to see where he goes next, as he quietly left Stadia about 5 months ago and did not tell anyone, was never announced, all that stuff.
Before Microsoft, he was at Gaikai.
Yep.
Before that, he was at Infogrames.
Yep.
/ Atari. And then Sony before that. What was he doing at Sony?
Strength to strength.
The core member of the team. That's except for the blah, 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 blah. Who cares?
The new Nintendo 3DS was released in 2015.
Love that console. Love dropping that console in water.
Yeah. 2K Australia was shut down. The last AAA studio in Australia up until things changed more recently, but like that was like the last one that survived the GFC. Finally gave out. Yeah. That was where our teacher at uni had worked for a time. 2K Australia. Rewriting that. EA Motive was formed with Jade Raymond.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't know that was around then. I thought
was that a Jade Raymond gig?
I think so.
Motive Studio. I didn't realize that. Yeah. That's cool.
Windows 10 was released.
Oh.
Weird to
think.
think.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, right? Like
I upgraded to Windows 10 in that time.
And because you remember, right, that was the beginning of Microsoft trying to push that unified Windows platform. Quantic Break launched onto the Windows Store at the same time as the Xbox. And
they were also trying to move away from the failure that was Windows 8.
and move away from games for Windows Live. I think that was starting to be killed at that point. But they wanted their own thing. Project Morpheus was revealed to be PlayStation VR.
Ooh, which would come out the next year.
Yep. Activision Blizzard bought King, which is one of the biggest reasons they were bought and have such a high price now by Xbox is because of King, which made Candy Crush.
Candy Crush and all of their other stuff.
And by the end of 2022, Kojima Productions...
2015?
Sorry. By the end of 2015, Kojima Productions reestablished as an independent studio with being helmed by Kojima himself.
Yeah, after being unceremoniously let go / terminated after releasing Metal Gear.
Yeah.
What a fascinating time. Do you think we'll ever get the story?
Yeah, I reckon we will. I reckon we will get the story at some point. Like, we know a lot of it. Like, we know a pretty, honestly, a lot of it.
Yeah, but do we know why Silent Hills was cancelled? Because that was the start of the bad blood.
I don't know specifically, but I would bet that there is information out there that you could sort of piece together. Okay. I'd be curious to like properly take like a big long look, but I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Okay.
And I guess just to cap it off, just some of the big hits from E3 2015. The Last Guardian was reintroduced to the world, or the world was reintroduced to The Last Guardian. Hitman: The World of Assassination was announced.
So that started rolling out the next year in episodes.
Yep. Final Fantasy VII Remake was announced. Shenmue 3 was announced. Fallout 4 was announced.
As like a Kickstarter on Fig or something, right?
Yeah, it was a Kickstarter. Fallout 4 was announced and released, obviously. It was the beginning of the Xbox introducing backwards compatibility to the Xbox One, which was very exciting.
That was huge.
Horizon Zero Dawn was announced, and Dreams was announced. There wasn't really a whole lot else. Nintendo had a really weak year. They showed like DLC.
They were in the middle of the Wii U. Like that was probably the year they fully pivoted to getting the Switch under production and underway, and maybe holding things back for it.
Like probably because it was like their E3 was like it was Animal Crossing, the mobile Pocket Camp.
No, it wouldn't have been Pocket Camp. That came out when we were at school.
Oh, was it? No, sorry. It was Happy Home
Designer.
Designer. Sorry. Yeah, it was that one, the Animal Crossing game with that and the Animal Crossing stuff in it. It was Yoshi's Woolly World. It was Metroid Federation Force. It was another little dinky Zelda game. And it was DLC for Smash Brothers on the 3DS.
Oh.
It was like a really lame year.
Yeah. God, thank God they turned that around.
Yeah.
Less than 2 years later, they released Breath of the Wild on a brand new console.
Yep. I mean, and the old one, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But just looking at this list briefly, like Last Guardian, that was such a white whale at the time. And like it did come out, so it doesn't feel so impossible now, but like it didn't exist before then. It was vaporware.
And Final Fantasy VII Remake being announced.
Yeah. Being announced, and really we only saw it like 1 or 2 more times before they finally started showing the final product, like 6 months before release. And like it looked drastically different every time. And that was another one where we went years without hearing updates on it. Multiple different times.
No, we were hearing updates, but it was just Nomura saying like, yeah, we're still working on it.
Yeah.
And we did see gameplay, I think, about a year and a half before it, but it was like...
We did. It was very different to how the game looked in the long run.
Yeah.
And then, Fallout 4 showcase as part of Bethesda's first E3 conference. That was outstanding. That was one of the best E3 shows.
Yeah. It was really exciting.
Yeah. I don't think Bethesda's topped that conference since, honestly.
Their conference where they had the Bethesda World branding and they had like...
Yeah, that one didn't do it for me.
Oh, I love that one because it was like Wolfenstein New Colossus, there was Prey, there was some...
ESO.
Yeah, some ESO stuff as there always
and their
is.
card game, their Elder Scrolls card game.
Yeah, the Elder Scrolls card game was there. There was the mobile game, the Elder Scrolls mobile game, and there was like the Nuka World DLC for Fallout, and that was a bit there. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
That would be more interesting before they got bought out by a larger company, but I think they have a bit less to show so frequently now.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. What's your first pick?
My first
Your number
pick,
3 if you've got it, but if you don't have a number 3.
I think mine are in order.
All
right. Actually, no, they're not. I'm going to swap 2 and 3 and
All right.
talk about what I had written down as 2 as 3. Let's talk about Rocket League a bit more now.
Sure.
You've brought up a lot of that pertinent context already with the PS Plus launch being so huge. Like PlayStation Plus having like a multiplayer game launch on its system and do so well hasn't been that successful, I don't think, ever again.
No.
Like
no, never.
Nothing has seen the straight up millions of players flock to a title just for releasing for free or as an entitlement along with a subscription before.
Yeah,
it's funny. I've been playing Meet Your Maker this week. I'll be talking about it a bit later. But that playing it has me feeling a bit that way, where it's a multiplayer game that launched with PlayStation Plus Essential now, which is basically the same thing. And it's got a decent enough player base that the player generated levels are coming through. People are playing the level that you're generating, and it feels organic because there's an audience there already, even though the game's so new, even across multiple platforms. But you see, it's like cross content, I guess. Like you can't do co-op with people on different systems, but you can play other people's worlds from other systems.
Sure.
And so the number of people you see in like replays, like playing your world, is like you see like two out of 10 players is like on PC, or maybe like 3 out of 10, and then the others are almost always on PlayStation because it's just there. That's why I'm playing it. I didn't buy it. It's on PlayStation Plus, and it's been really fun. So yeah, the way that Rocket League did that was awesome, and it was great seeing the fervor. Like I love when a moment like that happens. Like when Pokemon Go came out the next year, and that was a moment that was so exciting. But yeah, I think of all of the times that like you and I have played it together, the many different groups of people I've played it with who we've had great times playing it with, all the different modes they've done, all the support for it. I didn't really enjoy their monetization stuff after a certain time, especially after they got bought by Epic. Like it's like, oh, buy the McLaren for like $10. It's like, oh, kind of gross because it's like the 10th one. I guess it's just Fortnite, but it was just a bit like,
I was gonna say like you love some of the Fortnite skins though.
I only bought the Battle Pass and the Jedi Starfighter hang glider. That's all I bought. That's all I bought on that one.
No difference.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, the amount of good times that can be had there, the incredible skill ceiling on that game, and yeah, like I said before, just how rock solid it is as part of the industry now. It's just so impressive and so long lasting. We'll be talking about Rocket League new releases or modes or just playing it potentially in 5 or 10 years. I bet.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's yours, Jeremy? 3 or otherwise?
My number 3 is City Skylines.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's one I've never played. Tell me about it. I mean, I know it's like a spiritual Sim City successor, but not made by EA.
Yeah, and like, look, it hit harder because Sim City, the last one, came out in 2015, earlier that year, and
right, and that was a bit of a disappointment, wasn't it? It
was a complete disappointment. It had a really, really poor performance on PC. Like it was really, really poorly optimized. And it had like always online connectivity. It was like some of the worst like games as a service kind of stuff creeping in at that time.
And that was like EA being EA at that time too, right?
Yeah, it was peak that kind of EA. Yeah. And it was just, it came out and it just really wasn't very good at all. And then City Skylines came along and it was like, hey, guess what? Like we made the one you want. And like, I'm still playing it occasionally. It is really excellent. It is really in depth. Its art is really nice. There's really wonderful like sunsets and sunrises and really great reflections, and the shadows are really cool. The traffic simulation is really fantastic. I will, even if I haven't played the game probably well over a year at this point, but like I will still comfortably watch hours of people on YouTube just make perfect cities in various shapes or configurations. Those it's a paradox thing where there's a million different DLCs for all the different kind of additional content that you want, but that all the additional content, I don't feel like I was robbed of a full experience from the full game. Mm-hmm. Like I think maybe some fans of The Sims feel like sometimes they are. City Skylines is just an absolutely wonderful, wonderful game. They're making another one, and that's so exciting. And they have just done an incredible job. My number 3 of 2015.
Number 3 of 2015. There you go. My number 2 is a game that I didn't play until like 18 months ago, maybe 2 years ago at this point. Soma,
right,
by the people who made Amnesia, whatever their name is. I can't remember.
Frictional.
Frictional?
Yep.
There you go. No wonder I didn't remember it. Soma was such a fascinating, one of my first horror games that I properly played. And we played it for Game Spoilers podcast at the time, mini disc now. And it made for one of my favorite episodes of the show that we did with guest of the show, Sparky. That was so fun with the 4 of us. But the game itself really took me by surprise. I guess I'd only really played and heard of and experienced horror games like the original Amnesia, or seen like Slender or Five Nights at Freddy's, or even things like Layers of Fear on YouTube. The kind of games where there is progression, but like it doesn't really feel like there's a pleasant feeling to be had in the game, maybe ever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I've never looked at those games and been compelled to play them, but the story and world design and the mystery of Soma is so fascinating, and they really pull at a lot of philosophical strands in their sci-fi of their world in Soma as well, about like what it means to be a person and consciousness and whether robots have lives and stuff like that, and they pulled at this interesting idea of this really nasty disease and how that worked and how they might survive this dying planet. Like, I loved the world of Soma and learning more about it as I played through the terrifying moments, and being gripped and drawn through those pants shitting times was great. I had a genuinely really good time playing Soma, and I really didn't expect to.
Did you finish it?
In the end, I wasn't able to finish it in time for the podcast.
But did you ever go back and finish it?
I don't think I did, no, because I had to watch. I watched a video to see the end so we could talk about it for the show.
Yeah.
Because I was close, but not close enough. And then after that, no, I didn't ever go back and finish it.
You should play it again.
I think I might, because the rewatch I watched was like a lot of like the story, and I think I missed a lot of the final scares of that game, which I was a bit like embarrassed to mention at the time. But yeah, like you guys were talking about like, oh man, in this moment at the end, I'm like, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that game ruled. I really liked, I don't remember any of the characters' names, but like I said, I really liked the yeah, but what was the AI, the person you carried around with you?
I don't remember.
Yeah, the voice. It's like Nina or something. It doesn't sound right. But yeah, I just love the threads, the ideas, the concepts they pulled on and explored and took apart. And like I still remember those scenes where you have to like upload you have to find the like deep the pressure, the depth pressure suit, and you have to like sit in the chair and upload your consciousness into that suit and then you like walk out of that suit and like you turn around and you look at the other one get like decapitated or something like that, and it's like, oh, that was me, and it's like, oh wait, no, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Like, great moments in that game
Yeah.
that really lasted with me.
Yeah. Summer is really excellent. My number 2 is The Last Guardian.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wait, no, I don't think it came out that year.
Oh, did I?
It was
fuck it up?
revealed that year.
Oh, I fucked it up. I totally did.
It came out December 2016.
2016. I misread the thing because I was looking at the E3 thing.
So,
well.
what are you going to sub in?
Oh, look, like my other, like the one that was going to be next on my list below, which is not one of my games of the year, but I've got kind of like a weird soft spot for Arkham Knight. I think just because I enjoyed for the most part the story of that game quite a lot. Like I got to the end of that game and I was like, yeah, that was good fun. All the driving stuff, I think it wasn't very good. But like there was just like there's just too much of it.
That's the thing, right? Like for how much there was of it, the mechanics didn't like back it up enough.
Yeah.
It wasn't as fun as
it was very samey.
Much as they made you play it.
Yeah, and like it was so many repetitive missions. But like I also remember like, you know, I finished that game, went like, yeah, that was good fun. And then like I went back years later when I bought it on PC as a part of like a
sale.
Yeah, but it was like, you know, buy all these Batman games for like $20. I was like, yeah, fuck it. And I got through like a fair chunk of it again on PC.
Yeah.
And I was like just having a good
having fun.
Yeah, just having a good time. It's like a good game. Yeah, Arkham Knight. It's all right.
It is all right. I played that last year, I think. Just
Did you finish it?
on a whim.
Yeah.
And that was a good one to do. They do good things with their story. Like
great Batman.
Nothing earth shattering. Oh yeah, the Arkham Batman with Kevin Conroy especially.
Yeah,
like
top shit.
He's great.
Yeah.
And they do fun things with the story with the Arkham Knight, the titular Arkham Knight, and with Joker's legacy, what it means to be in that world.
Yeah.
Because he's been in all the games before that.
Even if you know about it, like it's fine, it's fun. It's not like a game that is ruined by understanding who the Arkham Knight is, and you figure it out mighty quick.
Oh, they signpost it so heavily,
and it doesn't matter. It's good. It's good.
It's not the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter what they say, it's not the point because they sure were trying to hide it for a very long time.
Yeah. That brings me to my number 1. It's not Undertale. It's not Crypt of the Necrodancer. It's not Halo 5 Guardians. That's right, everyone.
I know what it is.
It's Nuclear Throne.
Yeah.
This is one of the games I have. Let me look this up right now. On Steam, it's one of my most played games. But this is a roguelike made by Vlambia, which was before it was shuttered, run by Rami and who's that other guy?
Jen.
I forgot his. Yeah. Him. 200 hours played of Nuclear Throne. And it's a very simple roguelike. It's very brutal. It's very difficult, but it's so fun. The soundtrack is amazing. That was a soundtrack I had stuck in my head for weeks after playing, and then it would come back around, you know, like just make its way back around into my head. And it's got exceptional game feel. You want to talk about game feel? You want to talk about like vibrations to make the hits feel harder, like screen shake and like hit pause. Like, you want to talk about game feel? That was a good game, man.
Yeah.
All the explosions and the shudder and everything feels good. The melee hits, they give you that like 1 or 2 frames of pause, and it's like, oh, whack. And the sound effects are so gross and punchy and tight. Like this, that if I had to pick one word now that I've said it for one thing, it applies to the whole game. It is tight. It is so wound up tight. It is so good. And there is a lot for you to grind for if you want to go for the progression stuff. It's far too difficult for me. I've got half the achievements in 200 hours, less than half the achievements in 200 hours. And there was one I remember I spent like many days one summer grinding. which was play as the melting character. Their name is Melting, and get to the end without taking any health augments, health bonuses. And that's hard because Melting's whole deal is he starts with 2 HP where characters normally start with 8. And so you're basically one hit the entire game. And it's like part bullet hell. The bullets come fast. There's like assassins and snipers in this game. You could die so fast. Like a full run of this game is 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And when I tell you I spent hours and hours and hours not getting this achievement done, I got close so many times. Like 4 or 5 times I got to the final boss. But it's so hard. And pardon me, I loved going for that challenge and not getting it. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I fucking love that game. If you've got it on PlayStation Plus, because it was on there at some point, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Or like, honestly, it's probably just like $10.
Yeah, it was never a very expensive game.
I'm looking it up right now. It's $17 Australian. So it's probably $10 US. Buy that game and play it if you like roguelikes or like clicky, like almost like Hotline Miami type gameplay at times. It's kind of that fast, that intense. It's so good.
Yeah.
I would jump back into that game at the drop of a hat. I would take that game with me to a desert island. All right, Jeremy, talk to me about Bloodborne.
It's Bloodborne. Game of the year. Game of every year.
Game of the decade, Jeremy?
Game of the decade. Game of the PlayStation. Game of games.
Game of From Software.
Game of From Software. Yeah, Bloodborne. It's a masterpiece.
Oh.
It is not that it is perfect. It is that it is like incredible, right? And because it's like games can be 10 out of 10 and still have flaws.
Yeah.
But overall, as it is a 10 out of 10 if I've ever played one.
Mm-hmm.
Just a fucking, what a world. What bosses, what creatures, what combat. It fucking goes, son. It is such a unique game. You know, From games, they share DNA. They are all siblings of one another. But this one is the best sibling. Parents will tell you they don't have favorites of their children. They are lying. Their favorite is Bloodborne.
Their favorite is Bloodborne.
Bloodborne. Man, Bloodborne is the best child.
The thing is, you're like not wrong.
And like Bloodborne makes you like a Bloodborne evangelist after you've gone through it enough. You get to a point where you like, and it's so funny because every time I think about playing Bloodborne, I want to play it. But every time I think about the experience of getting through that game for the first time, the reaction that you have where you try and get everyone to play it, or like, you know, you start to shout it from the rooftops about the truth that is Bloodborne being incredible, is also like weirdly mirrored in game in plot of like
what, the old blood?
Well, no, like enlightenment and like seeing the actual secrets of the universe actually being there the entire time. You just didn't have the insight to see it. Is so funny because it's got this hilarious, like, it's imitating itself in a way. But like, yeah, I think about that game constantly.
Every week is a fight to suppress the Bloodborne discussion.
Exactly. Just like my favorite of the stories of all of the From games. I don't mind the story of Demon Souls. I think it's like it's pretty basic high fantasy stuff, but like I think it's like
done well enough.
Like it's done well enough, but it's also like digestible, I think.
Yeah.
Same with Sekiro, I think. Dark Souls gets a little bit confusing at times, mostly because of 2 a bit. But like,
that's because they don't tell you enough in those games.
yeah, whereas like Sekiro, Bloodborne, and like in Demon Souls actually don't tell you enough, but like there's not really a whole lot that they don't tell you that you can piece it together. But like Bloodborne and Sekiro are the 2 ones that like tell you the most, I think. Elden Ring, kind of its own thing.
Yeah, Elden Ring does a good job of striking the balance in between them, I think. There's not really a story that is told to you, but there is a story that is there that you do figure out. Like, it's a good balance.
Yeah. Whereas like things are happening in Bloodborne. Like you are like, it is one of the few ones of these games.
Plot.
Like there is plot and you are progressing it. Like you are the one that is actively doing the thing. Fuck. What music? What everything? What a game. Bloodborne. Bloodborne? Bloodborne.
Bloodborne. If you said it once.
Bloodborne. Not enough. This town's finished.
When should I go back to Bloodborne?
I was thinking about this before when you were talking about going through those games. I think you should actually just do it first. Only because I think, like, you know, when it clicks, it will then allow you to freely walk through the rest.
That's true. And I mean, that's, like I said before, like, cracking the start of Bloodborne is what helped me get through any of the rest of the Souls games, like, afterwards.
And I don't even necessarily mean difficulty-wise or gameplay-wise, but in terms of, like appreciation, I guess. I'm not saying you can't appreciate those games if you haven't played Bloodborne, but
but there's a moment, right?
It's not even that specific moment in Bloodborne that makes you appreciate it more.
I'm not saying there's like, oh, you have to wait for this cutscene.
Yeah,
but there's a revelation.
It's like it is like having cheese on crackers, right? You can have cheese, but if you have it on a cracker, that's a whole nother thing. Right? It is such a perfect point to go from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are a few vessels for cheese better than a cracker.
Yeah, you're right.
And like, I think you know, like Bloodborne as well, I think is a really great length. Whereas like Dark Souls 2, too long.
So fucking long.
Sekiro, pretty good length.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Souls 1, like pretty good, could maybe be longer at times.
Yeah, it's got some pacing issues.
Yeah.
It's got some speed up and slow down.
Yeah. Like Sekiro and Bloodborne are like really well paced. Sekiro is maybe a little bit too long at some points, but like that's only because Sekiro is just overall more difficult.
I was going to say, yeah, like the length there probably depends almost entirely on how difficult you find certain fights.
There's also a ton of optional bosses in Sekiro that like you will just stumble into, but the thing is that like
you don't know that they're optional.
Well, like the thing of like the nature of Sekiro is because of how open it is, you can just leave. Like they don't enclose a lot of their bosses. They do in some areas, but like a lot of them you can just like fuck off.
Right. Okay. So not many of them are like brick walls.
There are a lot, but there are a lot of ones where it's like another samurai, and it's like, is this optional or not? Or I can leave, so probably not. But yeah, like Bloodborne is like overall just like what a fucking game.
It's funny
they did it
with games like Sekiro and since creating Bloodborne. Do you think there's a part of them that wants to try and make that happen again? Like, do you think returning to a more linear kind of style with Sekiro was them trying to evoke a similar feeling to Bloodborne? Like, it feels like they know what they want to create when they create it.
Yeah, I think
the singular success of Bloodborne, you hear people talk about Dark Souls games, like, sure, but Bloodborne is this like extra step that I feel like we haven't seen or heard anyone mention in any other game in the same breath as it since.
Well, like the thing is about Bloodborne is that like it was a success, but it wasn't like an Elden Ring success.
That's right.
Yeah. And it was a critical success.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't a commercial like blow everything up, change the course of everything kind of success, right? That I think Sekiro and Bloodborne are cut from the same cloth. Where I think Activision would have went from and were like, hey, like let's do another sort of insular one, sort of on its own.
Yeah.
Make your own thing. We'll publish it, but like make it different than the rest.
Yeah.
Whereas like, yeah, I think like, look, FromSoft made 3 Dark Souls games and Demon Souls. Miyazaki made 2 Dark Souls games and a Demon Souls because he didn't make Dark Souls 2. Like he obviously likes them. And Elden Ring a lot again back a bit more like Dark Souls. He obviously likes that area. That I'm not like, if he wanted to make Bloodborne 2, I'm sure he could easily say, I think I want to make Bloodborne 2 and everyone would be like, yeah, okay. It's like, all right.
Oh, if you're sure.
Yeah, if you say so. But I think it's more about like he is lucky and happy enough to have the freedom to do whatever he wants, basically whenever he wants. I hope we get a remaster or a patch or something. I want it like I want it to. I want a version of that game that really appreciates how good it is.
And that can age well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Demon Souls will age well.
Now it will, yeah. Yeah. 2015.
What a year.
Funny year.
What an absolute cracker.
Yeah.
What a good one.
What were you doing in 2015?
That was my second year out of high school. That was the year I started my IT course. I did 1 semester and a half. Halfway through the second semester, when I was struggling with C++ and Java programming, I went to an open day for the Academy of Interactive Entertainment, which is where you and I met the following year, where we were learning about video game design. And yeah, basically I did that, was struggling so much at my course and then deciding that I was going to go to AIE, I just stopped going. I never officially told anyone in anything. I never officially quit. I just stopped going. I just never went back.
Yeah. I did the same because I was doing a web development course at that point. And I at some point I just left. I was like, I just don't actually like this that much.
I didn't even make the choice in my head. I was just like, there was just that time of like, because I was close to where I was studying. Like that was the closest schooling experience I ever had because I went to high school and primary school so far away from my house.
Yeah.
But this uni was close. And like it was close enough to the point where if I could decide that I wasn't going that day like half an hour beforehand and I just did that one time and just like, man, I'm so behind. I'm just going to be lost. I need to focus on catching up. I'm not going to go today. And like it was like Fallout 4 later that year.
Yeah, you didn't realize that you had already been to your last class.
Yeah. And like those 3 months of not doing uni, great. Because I knew where I was going and I didn't have anything else to do in the meantime. Like, great time.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you, aside from your web development?
Yeah, I also went to... I didn't actually go to an open day at AIE because I'd studied with him in the past. What was I doing? I remember I had an interview with one of the course conveners at AIE one time, and I
did that.
And I the day before I stayed up all night, not even like preparing. I just decided to stay up all night, and then I went to the interview and like did well enough that I made it in. Not that it's hard because you just got to say like, yes, course fees will be paid. And they're like, okay. And then
that's the thing, right? Like I put all this time into the we're so jaded about AIE now.
Oh yeah.
Like, we both got so much out of it. We wouldn't be where we are without AIE.
Yeah.
But mostly because of the people that they hired.
Yeah, nothing to do with the actual
itself.
like institution or the system or anybody that was like in charge of actually like running the school at a more holistic level. It was always personal touches.
Exactly. So, but yeah, like I remember that entrance interview was like, oh man, I'm so nervous, and like I want to make sure I do good, and I'm gonna really put myself into this. And they were like, oh, come to us with like a 1-page game document about a game you want to make, and this, that, and the other, or like what skills you have. So I was like, oh, I just started programming. I know this, I know that, and like it's a job, but it's not, because as with any as with any tertiary education institution, unless you're like University of Melbourne, who are so poncy and always get so many student applications that they can be choosy, like unless you're them, then basically any tertiary institution, if they look at you and think that you'll get through it enough, they're very happy to take your thousands of dollars every semester. There's nothing really that's going to stop them from doing that.
Yeah, like you actually
they don't care how well you do. They want your money.
You're not meant to know. You're not meant to go there like, look at all the stuff I already know.
Yeah, exactly.
You're meant to be there being like, I don't know, but I want to learn.
Uh-huh.
So I stayed up all night the night before. Went to the interview, aced it, and then I was like, oh, I'm really tired. And one of my friends called me being like, hey, you want to go watch The Revenant? And I was like, yeah, all right. And so like we then went to the movie, like while I was like already in the city. So we went to the cinema in the city, sat down. I watched about half an hour of Tom Hardy and Leonardo DiCaprio talking, and me not understanding me not understanding a word they're saying because they're speaking in like old American English.
Oh, is that true? Do they do that in that movie?
Yeah, like they do, but they've also got like really thick like American accents that are like, you know, like of certain areas of America that are like, you know, untamed or whatever. And so I can't understand a fucking word Tom Hardy's saying. And I fall asleep.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah. And so I fall asleep. And I wake up 2 hours later and watch I watched DiCaprio like beat up a bear, and then like the movie ends. And my friend was like, that was amazing. I was like, and I haven't seen it since.
What, really?
And then Leo won an Oscar, and I went, okay.
You haven't seen it since? That's surprising.
I don't know if it's like, look, I'm sure it's fine. I don't have that much interest in it. He only won that Oscar because he like almost died while filming it, not because he was a good actor in it.
I'll take your word for it.
It was better acting in other movies that he probably should have won an Oscar for, but this one not so much.
That's the old tale.
And history will come to prove me correct.
I was right. 2015.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah, the last thing I alluded to it a bit as well, but that year was also the year that I built my PC the day that our family budgie died. All the final parts arrived that day, but I came home and found him dead, and it was very sad. And to like get over it, I called mum and we were sad. And to like get over it, I like tearfully like set up the trestle table and started getting all the parts. So, and then I was just distracted, and it was good to like do something that night. That wasn't, but then it was also like, you know, I got the graphics card in, and because NVIDIA was doing that thing that they always do, and they were like, oh, buy a new graphics card, get new game. So I got The Witcher 3 for free with the game. And I got to test this brand new computer with this state-of-the-art PC showcase game. It was awesome. There's so much stuff that year. I just loved installing games on my PC.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah, it's good.
There you go.
All right, everyone, we're going to kick it to a break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about so much, including Metroid, the DualSense Edge, Mario. We'll be right back.
The man himself, Mario.
Charles? Welcome back to the MiniMapCast. If you weren't here during the break, you missed the view of the cat that Jeremy is looking after this week. Cat called Sushi. Young black and white cat who did not want to be there as long as Jeremy held her to be there.
Oh, she's fine. She's not like, you know, like I've seen her when she's like, I actually want to get off, and it's just like straight claws in.
Sure.
It was more just claws to keep herself upright.
Mm-hmm. Stability.
Yes.
Like Lara Croft's pickaxes.
Just like that. just like just like Soap and Price on a winter mountain. Just like
Before
that.
they get on the snowmobiles.
My favorite thing is I rewatched that sequence not too long ago. Just a quick aside.
I should do that. I haven't.
It's like it doesn't make any sense. Like they are like going up the side of a mountain that they could easily have just scaled directly up where they are. It's such a roundabout way to get to where they're going.
Oh, they're trying to go the way that the enemy doesn't suspect them, right?
I think it doesn't make sense. I'm pretty sure it doesn't make sense.
But it's also, that's the scene with the heartbeat monitor in like the blizzard, and then they get on the snow bikes at the end. Like, what a demo.
And you go through the lodge multiplayer map.
Oh, really? Does that happen?
Yeah. Yeah, because not all of them, but a lot of the multiplayer maps were in the campaign.
Right.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, they were like integrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, you can't really get much better than an early 2010s E3 demo. It's just
like when Infinity Ward was like an exciting studio to watch.
Yeah.
Like now, I'm sure they're still fine, but like I don't have that same level of excitement. I was like Infinity Ward.
Yeah, well, they released the most recent Call of Duty. How excited were you for it?
Which one was the most recent Call of Duty?
Modern Warfare 2.
Right, okay.
Jeremy.
Kerry.
I got as a belated birthday present, not all of, because it's far too much money, but some money put towards the DualSense Edge, essentially Pro controller for the PS5 that they came out with a few months ago. I'm very thankful to have it. I like it a lot. It's very nice to have. It comes with this really nice cable that I've kept all the kinks in and is like perfectly square right now.
So if you get 4 different ones, it's the different like square. There's one that's X. There's one that's triangle.
That's funny. Really, really nice braided long cable, which is great. The controller itself comes in this really nice like hard case, like really hard, really nice. It's got a charging like a recess on the back of the case, so you can open the case, plug the controller in so it's charging while in the case.
Yeah.
But it really just makes it look like you just open the Velcro and it's like you're looking at like those a mouth, but something that Sam and I both thought of was like those old like overalls that people would wear that with the dunny flaps. so
it's a butt flap.
That's funny. Yeah, exactly. It's got a little butt flap that opens up. But then you get the controller itself. And I posted the weird configuration I'm running it in on the Discord, which is you can have the different stick caps on it. So that comes with the like normal DualShock 4, DualSense sort of semi-domed, half-ridged ones. But then they also come with these domed sticks, kind of in the style of old, PS3, PS2, PS1 stick design, which I didn't think I would use at all. But this one's actually taller than the other one. This is the high dome. And I actually really like having a taller stick for more precise aiming in some games. It's funny noticing which games I did like playing with a taller stick and not the others. Like I'm really dialed into the sensitivity on the normal sticks in The Last of Us Part 1. And so this just made me miss all of my shots. So I swapped it and I was fine. But playing Horizon, playing Meet Your Maker, with the taller stick, I prefer much more. Resident Evil 4, I was really preferring that increased sensitivity with the stick. So it's quite good. It means that I find myself, whenever I have this controller out, I sit with the case as well, just in case I want to swap out the back paddles, the back triggers, for the sort of the dome-like ones that they have back here as well. So you can just like take these off and swap them. It's really cool. It's really neat. I like it a lot. I found myself reflecting on it a little bit while playing and while not playing, while sitting there. And I think about how, because every time you want to set up like a different shortcut for what the back buttons do, you need to press the function button, then open up the different menu and create a different profile. and then assign that profile to one of the face buttons and turn that profile on when you're playing whichever game you're playing that you want the profile for. So it's quite a number of steps. And each time I'm doing that, I become quite aware that the profiles I'm setting is really just the difference is 2 buttons mapped to the 2 back buttons.
Right.
And that's it every time. And I'm like, that it doesn't feel like much in a way, but it is really comfortable. Like I played Meet Your Maker with this for a night with the back paddles, with like jump on my right paddle and grapple on my left, so I could keep my thumb on the sticks and all of that. And then I played it without, and I did miss being able to jump and look around at the same time in a game where you kind of need to be on a bit of a swivel so you can like react to traps and not get killed. Yeah, it's a really funny device. I'm glad I've got it. It is really nice. Something that is really understated about this one is it has just a higher level of quality on all of the materials and the feeling of each button. Just in general, just a little bit. So
you'd hope so for the price tag.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And I am glad it's there. So like the triggers feel just a bit more like linear. There's no like, sometimes you'll feel like the spring like engage like a bit earlier. It's like, oh, that's no good. I don't like how that feels. The all of the buttons feel a bit snappier, a bit clickier. The L3 and the R3 is good. The PlayStation button is not mushy in the least. It's really responsive. Yeah, and it's got like the grip feeling on the triggers. Like there's just a lot of really nice things. I think where I've landed on it is I do really like it. I can't, if someone asked me what I would recommend based on my experience, whether they should go and buy it, I still, having played it and played with it and enjoyed it, I still really just cannot justify the price they're asking for.
Yeah, like if money is no issue, then like, go for your life.
Yeah, like this is the kind of thing that like when Sam was like, "Oh, do you want this controller?" I was like, I mean, maybe that could be a cool present idea, but not the whole thing. I would feel guilty if Sam bought me this whole entire controller because it's so much money.
Yeah.
It's lovely to have. It's really fun to play with. I'm going to enjoy using it. I'm really enjoying all the little things. But you could get like a good 20% of the enjoyment not 20%, like 15 to 20% of the enjoyment I got with this controller by buying a nice 3-meter long braided USB-C cable. And
I got a lot of those. That's so exciting.
Exactly. If you don't have one of those already, like the first time I'd be like, I could just run this over to the couch. I don't have to because I've been doing the thing for years of just like, oh, this controller's dead. I need to get up, plug it in, swap it with the other one. Hopefully that one's not dead. And so just being able to plug it in is actually quite nice. I haven't been able to do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like
so
when I swapped from an Android phone to an iPhone, I suddenly had a plethora of USB-C cables that were no longer my phone's charging devices in various rooms.
You need them in different corners of the house once a day, every day.
Yeah. And suddenly that changed to I needed a bunch of fucking iPhone cables, and so that was annoying. But like suddenly I have like 3 USB-C cables that were not dedicated to charging my phone in different rooms too. I can now just use them wherever. Like the good one doesn't have to be set aside for my phone. The good one can be for, the Switch or the laptop or whatever.
So yeah, it's fun. I'm glad I got it. It's really nice. Thank you, Sam, for getting it for me. It's a very nice gift. But yeah, I don't know what PlayStation's thinking with the pricing. I don't understand.
Same battery.
Worse battery.
Oh, worse battery.
It's worse. The battery life's worse.
Oh, God.
So thank goodness it's got that cable, right?
Yeah. Like, we put the battery in the case.
Well, the case doesn't have a battery in it.
Oh, I thought it had like a little...
No, that's just the Elite Series 2 controller on the Xbox side.
Oh.
Yeah, no,
I thought they did the same thing.
Flap.
Did they not do the...
Nope.
Why didn't they...
Because then it'd be $400, Jeremy.
Fuck me. I've like considered getting the Elite Series 2 because you can get it through the design lab.
You can now get it through the design lab, yeah, which seems wicked.
Yeah, and I'm like, I could make like a really cool looking one that was like mine. It's got my name on it, and it's got the case and all that stuff. And I'm like, that's like that's enough to make me consider it.
Yeah, when it feels that custom. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things I say against the Elite Series 2 controller. One of them is going through the design lab immediately raises the price when you get custom colors, custom printing, and all of that.
Of course.
It might still be cheaper than the DualSense Edge. But also, you and I both worked at a retailer where we saw
that's why I haven't got one yet.
Several Xbox Series 2 Elite controllers come back, and the original Elite Series controller. And like, we didn't sell that many of them either. And we saw a number of them come back. The grips would start like peeling off, like the adhesive would go, like buttons would stop working, would crack, would break, would like stop moving. Like such a litany of problems with those controllers that like it is always on my mind when I think about those controllers. Like the people that get and they work, great. Like, go for it. That's fine. I'm not trying to tell you not to get the controller, but like there's been so many I've seen that are busted. I specifically actually asked one of my friends who still works at my old work whether they've seen DualSense Edge controllers come back. And he said, no, we haven't had any come back yet. So that was part of my decision-making process, informed by the Series 2's durability concerns.
And like it's still early, which is why I haven't considered getting any controllers yet. Like I will wait to see how it all goes.
Yeah.
But it's all still just a little bit up in the air because it's a lot of money, right? And you know, there's warranties on them. I get it, but like I don't want to have to resort to that. I just want to buy a thing and it work.
Like, and like a warranty is good for as long as you got the warranty, but like just outside of warranty breaking still sucks. Like you don't want a controller to last 3 or 4 years. You want it to last like 10.
I was ever so slightly out of my warranty for my PlayStation controller breaking.
Yeah.
My
Edge.
Yeah, my DualSense, whatever, the PS5 one. When the trigger on that broke, the only reason I got it swapped over is because I bought another controller like about a month later, and I just said it was that one. Yeah. And the person in the shop getting paid $22 an hour didn't give a shit, so like whatever. But like it was I had like within a year I was like, oh no, this is already broken. And
yours and mine both. I had to swap mine out because the trigger stopped working, like the spring disengaged.
Yeah. That was the issue with mine.
And let's also not forget that 2 or 3 weeks ago, I took my DualSense controller, my replacement one that I just mentioned, apart because it started getting stick drift. I had to spray it with isopropyl alcohol because I can't replace a component because it's soldered to the board.
No good. He's no good. Also, have you been on this Design Lab website?
Not recently.
It's really cool. You got a whole 3D model you can rotate now completely.
Yeah, and that's right. I did that on my phone one time. Yeah, now that you mentioned it, I did that on my phone.
It's like surprisingly cool.
Yeah, it's good. I haven't seen it for the... I'll go in and have a look at what it looks like with the Pro controllers too, because I want to see that. Like, can you get like different colored paddles and like all the different attachments?
You can do... The paddles might just be standard. And I'm just going to I'm just going to see how much it is altogether when I go all the way through.
Put all the bits and bobs on.
Yes, I want the full Elite package. Oh, you can customize the paddles. That's neat.
That's great.
Yeah, paddles white. Yep, that's all good. Preview design. $300. Oh, just under. Before shipping.
Well, still well less than the Edge controller. That's a shame. Well, no, it's great for Xbox players, but... a bit of an indictment on Sony.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mentioned Meet Your Maker, which is a game that came out on PlayStation Plus. I was talking about how you're making levels and stuff like that, playing it with the controller. But that's been a fun game. Kind of came out of nowhere. It's made by Behavior. Came out of nowhere for me. They announced it at the Game Awards. But it's made by Behavior Interactive, who made Dead by Daylight. It's not Dead by Daylight. It's no. Have you seen much about the game?
I know what it is. I haven't played it, but yeah.
So it's a first-person shooter game where you play as these like robots in like a post-apocalypse world, and basically it's kind of like first-person trap room Mario Maker, where you can raid people's levels, where everyone has to get to the like resource at the center of the level and get out without dying, and you like die in one hit. So it's about like seeing the traps. Like it's all about building in cubes and grids, and you can place like spikes on one wall. You can make blocks disappear, or this could be like a lava block. This block shoots out a grapple hook that grabs you and pulls you in somewhere, so it could pull you into another trap or just mess you around. Or they can shoot arrows at you, and so you have to find those as they go through. Sometimes they only get revealed once you get the resource. And players can, and there's enemies like that can shoot at you or like run at you to try and stab you. They can be armored. Like, there's lots of little differences that they can make. It feels a little bare bones. Like there's only like 4 enemies, 9 traps with different tweaks that you can do. But how you combine them, the different levels you can use, the different capacities that you can build those levels within, it's quite interesting. It's got me in a weird way that I wasn't expecting. Like it's got a bunch of progression stuff. Like you can level up all the different vendors for your suit, or whether you want to buy more enemy mods and like enemies to build with. And so all that progression stuff is actually it's pretty satisfying. It feels like there is something to do. You get really well rewarded for building a level and setting it to active and letting people play it. Even if no one is actively playing it, you're sort of getting like a passive reputation generation while it's active for a certain amount of time. The more people play it and the more people die in your level, the better your level is, and you can like prestige it for a certain cost of resources at that point. And the more you do that, then the more points it gets you. It's quite good.
Sorry, apologies to audio listeners. I was pulling up Meet Your Maker so I can look at pictures while you're doing it, and a trailer started to autoplay.
Oh, I looked at your face. I'm like, what happened?
Apologies, it was quite loud. I'm going to try and cut that out in the edit if I can remember.
Okay.
Scared the shit out of me. I was like, Steam doesn't usually have sound when it autoplays. Didn't matter.
No, it doesn't normally have sound, does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. I didn't expect to be playing it. I had this really funny like couple of hours building a level, like sort of getting to grips with the controls. I bought like a basic low capacity plot, basically. And it was a really simple path to take. Like you have to keep this critical path. And that like you can't just like put the resource like squared off so it's an impossible level. You have to have this path the whole way. And I like complicated it a bit by like making it go down and like corkscrew back around and up. And that meant that like half of the plot I used wasn't useful for anything. So I had to seal that off, cover that up. And then I added a couple of traps here and there and did that and this and that. And I kept like getting out of flight mode and like walking through the level and being like, oh, this looks like crap. Or like, oh, where does that hole go to? Oh, I just left this open. This just goes into the bowels of the pit that I didn't use.
Yeah,
like,
right.
And you can't get out easily because it's just shit down here.
Yeah.
And so I finally started working it out, plugging all the gaps, and I start trying to put all the traps in. I'm like, oh, I had 750 capacity, but it's like the traps are like 50 each. And I'm like, this place is tiny. I can't do anything here. Right. And I'd spent like an hour and a half putting all the blocks, which are like 1 resource each. So I didn't figure that out for ages. So I was like, oh, fuck, I've put all this time in. Just make it good enough to like send it. And so I made it good enough and I tested it a couple of times and I'm like, yeah, no, that's shit. I'll move that. Or I'm like, yeah, that's so obvious. I'll move that. Set it to go, turned the game off, came back later and only had one other person play it and they were on PC and they beat it in like a minute and they dodged that one. They heard that one already. They just shot them. They didn't die once. They just blitzed the level and they were in and they were out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit. So I went in, I changed a couple of things again. I set it, went back, turned the thing off, went and did something else. And the next time I came back, 2 other people had played it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to watch their replays. Like, and I think, yeah, 2 other people played it. There were 3 deaths. One of them had died twice. One of them died once. And it was so satisfying to watch what actually got them. To be like, oh, they got confused because I put this there, so they were looking at that, so they weren't thinking to look further ahead to that one. And there were so many other parts. It was like, no one's getting fooled by this. This is pointless. Like, get rid of that.
Yeah.
The reason I'm bringing that up because it was I've never seen, not even in Mario Maker, the way for you to, and I don't own Mario Maker, maybe this is in there, but a way for you to see each player's playthrough. Like it's almost a way of doing player testing and then watching the replays. Like it's really positive. I really like that inclusion.
Yeah, in Mario Maker, you get the locations of deaths.
That's right. You get the little X spots.
But that's it.
You don't know what they jumped from, like whether they were late on that block. You don't know why and how.
It's been a hot minute, but I don't believe so.
I don't think you have replays. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like ghosts.
No.
So yeah, it's just this really interesting loop. It's really fun to play. Like I play pretty slowly, which means I get into a lot of trouble when you enter the like kill rooms where there's like 10 enemies and like 12 traps, and you just kind of have to move fast enough while taking everything out. I can't handle those. Right. But I love the ones where you're like checking each corner, or like the floor drops out from under you, so you quickly use your second jump, your like mid-air jump, and try and grapple to somewhere safe, and that puts you in danger of something else, and you try and get back to somewhere safe and like creep around and look around. It's decent fun. Is there like
can you change the lighting? Can you do a horror map, for example?
It's not that intense. Like the creation tools aren't so robust that you can make an entirely different genre of something, really.
Okay.
There are many different types of blocks that are different colors. Like you can make them out of like rusty red metal, and you can put these like industrial neon yellow lights in places. But you can also make things out of just like blue sheet metal, which gives it this completely different vibe. Or there are other decals you can paint on them that like arrows or like graffiti on concrete and stuff like that. So you can tweak and tailor and give them different vibes, all within this sort of industrial post-apocalypse feeling.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna Little Big Planet your way into like a new version of Trials.
Sure.
You're not gonna find the first person mode inside of the Maker's suite that they were able to change. It's not that robust. It is more similar to Mario Maker in that way, where it's like, no, here is the base, and you work within that.
Yeah, you make Mario levels.
Exactly. In here, you're making Meet Your Maker levels.
Yeah.
But it's really good fun. It's really interesting gameplay. The like one hit and the like limited resources. Like you have to go and collect your ammo once you shoot. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I don't know how much more I'll play, but it's fun when I keep returning to it. Like I really want to go back and see if anyone else died to my level before making my next one, you know?
Nice.
Yeah. Jeremy, I would love to hear about your time with Metroid. You finally started it.
I finally started it. I think I'm about like 2.5 hours before the end.
Like, whoa, what the fuck, Jeremy? Did you just start playing and you couldn't stop?
No, I stopped, and then I just like picked it up again, kept playing. Like it's funny because like I'm playing this so I have
paint the scene.
I have played a grand total of 1 Metroid game before. That being Metroid Dread. I've never played any of the old ones. I watched my housemate play some of Prime 2 or 3. From playing it on the outside without like actually playing it before, I looked at it and I kind of went, I don't really know if I sort of vibe with it that much. Like I think
when you were watching your housemate, or when you started.
When I was watching my housemate play it. When I was watching because like I don't love first person platformers.
Yeah.
And I also like, it's the Legend of Zelda to Ocarina of Time, Mario to Mario 64.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Super Metroid to Metroid Prime.
Super Metroid to Metroid Prime. Like it is adapting a Metroid game into a 3D space. And now that I'm playing it, like I get it a lot more. I don't love it. I think it's good. I like it. I don't love it. I like the setting well enough. I'm enjoying the monsters well enough. I'm just not super engaged by the gameplay.
It's funny, isn't it? Because it is first person, and now it's kind of freed by the dual stick controls, which is spoken about before. But it's like a lock-on first person shooter, which is fascinating.
And like I think that works better because I would be more frustrated if I was just missing most of my shots.
Totally.
But I think like the actual like mechanics of like getting around, like I think is fine. Like it's like I know Metroid. I understand Morph Ball and rockets and jumping and all that, good Metroid goodness. But like it's not engaging me super much.
And yet you started it on like Saturday and you think you're 2.5 hours from the end.
Yeah, and I think because like the game is actually like is like I was gonna say like baby game for babies. No, like but it's like it's easy. I'm not having any difficulty basically at all.
With the new controls, it is a little out of balance, I feel.
But like I'm
like,
also
because you're not fighting them the whole time.
And having being well versed in this genre means that I know roughly where to go and I know when to ignore certain things and when to come back to certain locations. I think the environments are pretty cool. I don't like how they connect together in the sense that
the elevators.
Yeah, in my brain they don't connect together at all. Like I might as well be on different planets altogether.
That's a really reasonable feeling.
Like I don't like I'm not really vibing with that much.
In 3, they just do that. You just do go to different planets.
I might enjoy that more.
You can do cool stuff with like the Wii remote where you can like press buttons in Samus's ship.
That's cool.
Yeah. Cool. Sorry, go on.
Where am I at the moment? I've got the ice beam. I've got the gravity suit. I'm trying to think if I got anything else after that. Because I think that's where I'm up to progression wise.
Okay, I can tell you're about 60% to 2/3 of the way through the game.
Right. Okay.
You have a big, hearty chunk left.
Okay, because I'm getting like an upgrade every hour or less. I'm getting through it like real quick. I'm just kind of I'm beeline and stuff. I'm not even I'm not reading in a lot of the stuff.
Yeah. Sure. I liked reading that stuff in like the labs, like finding out like the pirate data logs. I like reading those because they're fucking sinister and gross. You get a lot of the menace of what they're all about from those logs, but I can understand people not wanting to turn on the scan visor after every encounter, look around the room, find them, sit there and read it. Like it makes sense.
Yeah, and like it's not the best way to engage with a lot of that stuff. I'd rather watch a YouTube video with maybe a little bit more like punctuality. And yeah, like I don't know, like it's cool. I think it's good. But I don't. Yeah, like I'm not loving it. Like I'll get to the end because there's not a whole lot of friction in terms of me not making progress.
Yeah,
like it kind of feels like going down like a children's slide. Like I'm just like going down the entire time.
Sure. Can I ask you this? So there's 2 sort of optional things that I had turned off when I played. One of them you asked me about, but I got to like a couple of hours later, is the narration for the cutscenes. What did you end up doing with that? Because for those who aren't aware, it was like something they added for like one of the different territories. It's like a Blade Runner, like in 2072, Samus Aran, bounty hunter extraordinaire, stumbles across the space pirate frigate Orpheon. It's like, oh, this sucks. Did you turn that on or off or like experience it? What'd you do?
Like it's in the opening cutscene because it's just on by default. And I think I put it to, because there's like 3 options. There's like always on, always off, and like a middle ground because it's meant to replicate the different region versions of the game. I think I put it to like, I think it's either off or middle. I haven't noticed it. Okay. So maybe it might be off. I kind of forgot about it.
Like get it at the end or something.
Yeah,
I would turn it off, honestly. Like that game does well for just having the vibes, but like you do you. It's fine.
Yeah.
The other one is there's a hints system which you can turn on or off, which is like when you get an upgrade, the game will like pause, or maybe it's when you open the map, and it will show you, it will like take your cursor and drag you across the map and be like, question mark over here. What's this? Maybe you should go over here.
Yeah. So that setting was on by default.
Yeah.
But I think there's a gradient on it because it doesn't take me out of the game. It gives me like a message saying like, hey, like, new intel, and you can go into it or not.
So you get the option at the time. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I've had that only because sometimes I'm like, like the menu, the reading the map is a bit off sometimes because sometimes I'm pixel hunting for like a different color door that I can't find. And so when I've got a little thing saying, "Hey, here's the next thing," I'll more often than not just be like, "Yeah, all right, just tell me." Like I'm happy to go that way. Like if I want to explore, like I'll go explore. But sometimes it's like
I want to get to the next thing.
Yeah, like show me the red door on the red map.
Yeah.
Because like
it sometimes really is like that, where it's like the first time you go to the ice place, Fendrana Drifts, like you're there for like less than 10 minutes and you get the boost ball, and then you need to go back to your ship. Like, and they foreshadow that a little bit with like Ridley flying over you, like back towards the elevator.
Yeah, and for me, for that section, that was all I used. I just kind of went in that general direction, and that was good enough. But if you like if you stop and forget where what you're doing, then it's very easy to just not have any idea where to pick it up again.
Yeah, or like before getting the gravity suit, right? You have to use the ice beam in the ice place before you didn't have the ice beam. But it takes you like 3 hours from when you're there until you get the ice beam next, or it takes a while. And like I completely forgot about that area, even after the map hunting.
Yeah. Yeah, the extended sections in underwater before you have the gravity suit. Oh, not fun. Did not enjoy that at all.
But it does feel great then when you do have the gravity suit and you're like, yes.
Yeah, no, it does.
Have you been into the ship?
Like into my ship?
Okay, you don't know what I'm talking about? I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah. That's fine. There's an area you can go into that's underwater. You can go into it before the gravity suit, and it's absolutely miserable.
Oh, the one where you I know because I fell down the hole immediately.
Yeah, you fell. Yeah,
because the fish dragged me in. I was like, ugh.
Yeah,
and I got to the top and it dragged me back in. I'm like, ugh.
And you have to like jump up all of the platforms.
Yeah, and there's like the tentacles at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, that place is miserable without the gravity suit.
Yeah, because I did that section before the gravity suit as well. It's like, this isn't like, I'm not enjoying this part of it.
Yeah, and they really kind of they have it that they kind of send you there, but it's so bad. It's so not fun to be in that area.
Yeah. I'm enjoying the music for the most part. It's pretty good. A lot of a lot of kind of like drum and bass, like alien drum and bass, like light soundtracks in some areas that I quite enjoy. Like kind of like Halo 2 vibes a little bit.
Oh yeah, with the like kind of like choral.
Yeah, but like percussion with like a zest of like electric below it.
Yeah, plus some singing.
Yeah. I think Samus's suit is cool.
Oh, so cool. Samus is cool in this as well. She's so fucking cool.
Samus is cool. I don't enjoy the parts where there's no light.
Yeah, that's not fun, is it, with a thermal visor?
Yeah, because the thermal visor is kind of ugly and like it gives me like just a tinge of motion sickness because it's just
because everything's so smeary.
Yeah, I didn't love that. Metroids are not nearly as scary as I hoped they would be.
Yeah,
they're pretty easy to kill.
Yeah,
and it's fine. I enjoy being the ball the most, I think. Like it's fun doing like, skateboard tricks as like a little ball and being eaten by like a rock lizard and then blowing up the rock lizard from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
Uh-huh.
There's not many power-ups left for me because there's the fire shot I need to get and the slingshot. Those are the two that I believe are left because everything else is kind of just open to me at this point.
Sure. I could tell you're wrong, and I could think of more than twice that you have left.
Really? What are they?
Do you want to know?
I don't care.
Okay. There's the much more powerful morph ball bomb.
So, sorry, I mean traversal abilities, like weapon upgrades.
This unlocks doors that you can't open otherwise.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do they look like?
Piles of rubble.
Oh, in that fucking cavern. Okay, I didn't know if that was a thing that I have to get through or not.
When it's like, thing is made out of like different colored letters. Bendesium. That means you'll be able to get through it with something else later.
Right. I didn't know if that was just world building and I had to get around it or
Well,
not.
no, because you can read the lore entries on what your equipment is good for as well. So you could find out, oh, my missiles are good for cordite, or my super missiles are good for cordite. I don't remember which one. Like you could find that out. So when you see that, you're like, oh, I don't have that yet. I do have that yet. But yeah, there's the power bomb. There's the X-ray visor, grapple beam.
Oh yeah, the X-ray visor is cool because you can see Samus's hand in the gun.
Yeah.
And you can see her do the like
exactly. You can see the different like
like
but
ASL when she's doing.
It's also really weird because turns out there's just invisible platforms in the world, and this is how you see them.
Do they exist before you get that, or do they like actually? Oh, okay. Can you like bump into them?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wonder if that's happened. Give me a Breath of the Wild little map to see where I've bumped into platforms before. And got mad at platforming.
Yeah, they're all like elevated and out of the way, so like it's not common, but there is one that I did find before I had the visor.
Did you know about it and you were like, what is this?
No, I didn't, but I saw like it's in an area with rain and like the raindrops land on the platform like in midair.
Cute.
What else? There's I'm not going to spoil the last one because it's fucking sick. And the fire beam, like you said, there's optional missile like weapon ones, like you said. They're cool to get, but they are optional.
I might kind of avoid those if I can.
Why?
Because I think if I get to the end boss where I'm at now, it might be a little bit more challenging in a way that's a bit more enjoyable.
Sure. Maybe. They're very long fights. Like sometimes they're not hard, but they're long.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
surviving, I guess,
you might want something that'll speed it up at some point.
Maybe surviving isn't the hard part, I guess. Like I've not died.
Yeah. I died in one place, the same place in both my playthroughs.
Right.
And it was just getting an optional energy tank, and like it blows out the floor under some lava, and I just have to like hop out of it and then like drain my health enough times.
Yeah, I almost died because of lava once because I fell in by mistake and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And I was like, just like, ow, 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 like just for like a while.
Yeah.
And like jumping out of lava is a bit like awkward.
Yeah, totally, because it kind of holds you in for a bit.
It reminds me a lot of Minecraft in that regard, where it's just like I just can't get out of the fucking thing.
Let me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'll be interested to see how you go.
Yeah, like it's cool. I'll play the next one when it comes out as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how well I'm gonna go with the third one.
There's 2 to 3 more areas ahead of you, like segments, I would say.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but still, that's a lot of game in not much time. What, like 6-8 hours?
Probably. Maybe a little less. Maybe 5.
I'd be interested to know. Your save file tells you at the start of the game.
I did leave it on while I went to do stuff. I know Switch has got like a thing, but like, yeah, I
don't think the game file does.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find out. But yeah, like I've been quite bad with numbers on like my
hours.
Yeah, my playthrough for Resident Evil I think was sitting at about 32 hours because I left it on.
Oh, you just left Leon standing at the merchant.
Yeah, like I had the TV off, but like the console was on running.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's funny. I did that with a game on my Switch this week with I bought and downloaded and played Bowser's Fury, which is like the standalone-esque DLC-esque thing for 3D World. And you can't do that in that game because Big Bowser wakes up and shoots firebolts at you every 10 minutes.
Yeah, he does.
And I was like, oh, why did the music stop? I was like, I don't know. I was like in the kitchen and like microwaving something. I'm like, why did the music stop? I was like, oh. And I quickly locked the system.
Tell me about Bowser's Fury.
So yeah, I have a couple of interesting things about Mario here. A couple of Mario games are on sale, like Mario Maker and Bowser's Fury, or 3D World. And I've been interested in getting them for a while, so I got this one, and I've had a really good time. I beat Bowser's Fury in a day, in like 24 hours ish.
It's not very long.
It's not very long. No, it's an expand alone style thing. It's a little bite-sized little thing. It's so funny though. Like people said this at the time. It feels like such a proof of concept for something they were trying to do. You know what I mean?
It feels like they accidentally scope creeped what was going to be the Mario Odyssey DLC.
I don't think this was Odyssey DLC at any point. I think this was 3D World DLC because like it is built around the moveset of 3D World of like you can't like backflip jump, like crouch backflip jump, and like you don't have Cappy. Like the movement is so different. It's that like hold Y to run and like jump and whatever. Have you heard something otherwise or?
I can see more Odyssey in this from a design, I think. Only because I
like the world design.
Yeah, and I think they actually learned lessons from Odyssey, which was put into this. That I think that, like I don't know at what point it was going to be DLC for Odyssey, but I think as a concept, I could see it be like an additional Odyssey stage or step, or maybe it was the initial plan for the final world in Odyssey that didn't quite work and they didn't know how to make it work.
I just don't see the game 3D World and Mario Odyssey play so differently. Like Mario's movement set is so much more reduced. It's so much less. It's not like 3D Mario. It's so different. Like I don't see them as being that intermixable. You know what I mean? I don't think they would have been able to make that for Odyssey and then change their mind. But
like the structure of Bowser's Fury being about getting, the what are they, moons?
Cat shines.
Shine, yeah. It's kind of a weird successor to Sunshine. Being shines again, and the kind of the vibe of the world is a little bit Sunshine.
Yeah, like Bowser Jr.'s there, and all of the paint and the goop and all the water. Yeah.
So why I think it might have been is because I think what this was going to be, it was going to be a sequel to, it was going to be a successor to Sunshine through Odyssey.
I think you're completely off your
rocker.
No one's making a successor to Sunshine.
No, but okay, so the whole idea of a DLC for Odyssey was going to be just like, give me another location on that planet and just drop me in and fucking go ham, right? Isle de Fino is on that map.
What map?
The Odyssey map.
Like the world map?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Like its location is there where it looks like there's sort of space for the final, because you sort of like hop around that planet.
Yeah.
That was kind of where it was going to fit. And I could see, this beach-esque area which has got shines. Like I know it plays differently because it's designed around the game that it is in. But I think the initial,
even like conceptually maybe.
Yeah, like the day-night cycle, Bowser, like all that stuff. Like I'm not talking about that they ripped a 3D map and threw it into the thing, but I mean conceptually the structure of that game I think was going to be an Odyssey Sunshine little twist.
When I was playing it, I was sort of interpreting the differences like, how can we try a more open Breath of the Wild format of Mario like soon? Like there's a way to test it where they didn't have to futz with the mechanics, so they just made everything cat themed and put it in the 3D world with all the cat stuff. They used all those power-ups. And then, they have this big 100% open area where you can go to all of the different places. And it's like discrete levels throughout that take you through that area, but like you can just jump off the side of it and be in the ocean again and go to the next one.
Yeah, which totally doesn't track with 3D World. No,
3D World is so linear and contained. It's like the NES and SNES games.
Yeah, which is like Odyssey and Sunshine, they do have that, like you're in a big open world and you're doing like a little thing in a contained area, and then you're sort of like leaving, but you're staying in that zone and going to another little contained area that's kind of like isolated, even though it's in this big world, which is why I think it is an Odyssey next.
I'm not on board with that theory, but that's fine.
I think the other thing was when they announced that Luigi DLC for Odyssey, I think that they either said that this was not going to be the last content being added, or they didn't say that it was going to be. It was this weird
there was a lot of talk about Odyssey DLC, like borderline confirmed talk about DLC.
Yeah, and we just never got it.
And it never came. It's been nearly 6 years since Odyssey.
Oh, maybe I play it again.
I was thinking that playing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bowser's Fury itself is really fascinating. I really like all the different worlds, all the different little levels they've got. It's quite simple and easy. And I don't like the way Mario controls in 3D World / Bowser's Fury. Like, his jump just feels different, and I want to be able to backflip, and his long jump is so much shorter that I just don't even bother using it. Like, the moveset is just so different in lots of different small ways that I don't appreciate as much as just being able to jump into Galaxy, which I played right before this. So, like, it's okay in terms of the movement. The core moveset I found disappointing in general, but the level designs themselves really fun. Like, they use the platforms that flip from blue to red when you jump, and they make a whole level in that area. So there's like 4 or 5 different things you can do there. There's the little like ice skate boot level where you got to like go down the ice skate rink. There's the different
love the boots.
yeah, exactly. There's the Plessy water dragon racing sections. That's all. It's all really fun. There was one that really had my number. I died on it a lot, which was this like rotating above lava platforms one towards the end.
The platforming got trickier towards the end, like noticeably.
It definitely did.
Yeah.
Especially if you were like me, trying to get all the like collect 5 mini shines to get the full shine.
Yeah.
And those were really tricky. There are some I had to completely leave and come back and like look at from a different angle, like way down below if it was like a tall tower, and be like, oh, way up there, there's a little hatch.
Yeah.
Real sneaky bugger stuff. But then Bowser gets mad, and I'm in the middle of trying a level for the first time, and it becomes nighttime and raining, and he starts blasting lasers at me and killing me. And like, it's cool. Like, Bowser's design is so fucking cool. Like, he's so metal.
Yeah.
Like, and Mario's like fidelity of his like gargantuan big cat suit mode where he turns into like glowing yellow Super Saiyan cat Mario was pretty fun as well.
Yeah.
And like running around the world, they did a good job of the sound and the animations where Mario doesn't sprint. He's like poof, 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 as he's running across the world because he's big, he's heavy. So is Bowser.
Yeah.
But I did find myself getting like Bowser's coming around every less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Until you defeat him for one of the chunks of time, and then he's gone for like 20. And like, there are times I'm like, there are so many levels here, and there's actually not that much Bowser stuff for me to do with the like, oh, use the Bowser blocks, or you like use his breath to break the Bowser blocks.
Yeah.
To like open a new path. Or like I would be like, oh, I'm right near one. I just stand and wait for him to like jump around. Then he blasts it. I get the shine, and and he's like, oh, my eyes, and he goes away. Or like sometimes it was like, or it'll like turn night, and he'd turn up just at the end of me getting to the end of a puzzle, and I collected the shine immediately after, and he's like, oh, my eyes, and he goes away after like 5 seconds.
Yeah,
it's a really like awkward, strange mechanic.
A little bit, yeah. I remember that being like, huh.
Yeah, like it's fun. Yeah, it's cute, and it's a good way to make it more interesting. Without that, if you were just in this sort of like beach world, it would feel a bit empty and pointless.
Yeah, then you're playing Sunshine. Which is not great.
But better designed.
Yeah.
Better levels.
Yeah.
And I do think it feels better than Sunshine, even though I don't love 3D World's movement.
Yeah, I agree. Sunshine doesn't feel Sunshine doesn't feel good and doesn't play well.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of great feeling moments in it. Like a lot of fun levels, like climbing into a tower for the like second or third time when you return, the levels change a little bit.
Yep.
Those little changes were fun to see, and yeah, great moments with the coming across the level for the first time, or again with Plessy, or finding secret areas. Like there's a lot of good there. Like I said 52 out of 100 shines when I beat it, and I want to go back and get more of them. I don't know if I'll get to 100, but I want to go back.
Yeah.
I played a bit of 3D World last night. I beat like the first world in 30 minutes with like all green stars and stamps and whatever. That was fun.
Play it co-op if you can.
I was just gonna say, Jeremy, I've played this game once before in co-op, and I'm enjoying it so much more on my own.
Oh, really? Right, fair enough.
Yeah, because when we played it co-op, everyone was like, Jeremy, how do I play games?
Annoyingly.
Expound.
Do everything at once.
Do everything as it comes.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you're playing with people, most of the time people don't want to wait around to do that. And so then I'm just like, fuck, I guess we're just running forward then and not trying to find any of the other stuff. We're just running. And that got really boring for me. Like there was one time I did go back a second time to run through and I sprinted through that level, ignoring everything because the game's not hard or difficult or challenging.
It gets there. It definitely gets there.
It does get there. It does. It does. And I am looking forward to the final levels. I've heard they're brutally difficult. And I'm so excited to get to those. But yeah, like I am enjoying more playing it on my own just so I can complete it and that be done. Because the challenge isn't in the platforming or the mechanics. It's in doing the extra stuff and finding that as I go through. That's where the only challenge in this game lies for me so far.
I think when I was playing, because I did half the game in a single sitting with two of my housemates, and we were drinking as we were playing it.
Yeah.
That was great because we were all pulling each other into the next world. Maybe before each of us were quite ready to be there, but it was just about like let's keep going. Like let's see.
That's the thing. That's the experience I had.
It was endurance. It was so fun. It was fun and funny because each of us would all find a moment that were like, oh, maybe I just want to have a quick look at this one thing. And every single time that happened, the other two, which means we're always overruled, were like already past it.
Yeah.
And so
I understand why conceptually that's funny.
Yeah.
That would just piss me off.
It was so good. And, you know, like part of it was also, I think, because we were getting drunk.
Yeah, sure. It wasn't really about the game necessarily.
Yeah, the game was a vice to like basically play pranks on each other. You know, like throwing, like, you know, like getting an extra item and then instead of giving it to one of the others, just stealing it because like, haha, fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, you know, picking each other up and just diving off the edge because haha, fuck you.
Yeah, totally.
Was so good.
Yeah. So I do feel vindicated that I have had that experience and that I'm having this different one now. I don't think I'll play it with anyone. I think the only other person I know who has it is you. Do you want to play 3D World with me, Jeremy?
Not the way you play it.
Do you want to play it at all with me? Like online or
yeah, maybe. Like if we can make like a lot of progress. You know what I mean? Like if we go for like how far can we make it in an hour and a half?
Ugh. Sounds so boring.
The joy of Mario,
oh my god,
Kerry, is the jumping. He's the jump man.
Yeah, and his jump feels worse in this one.
Yeah, but it's still good.
What I love about 3D Mario, Odyssey, Galaxy, 64,
and none of the others.
None of the others. Galaxy 2. But what I love about them is having a mastery on the movement that I earned through completing Galaxy, and through like just getting better, and having a confidence in my movement to pull off some gnarly jumps. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That is so fun for me, and I feel like my opportunities to do that in 3D World are really limited.
Yeah, 3D World is an adaptation of 2D Mario.
Yeah,
which is just running and jumping and maybe a triple jump.
Yeah.
And a slide. There's no backflips. There's no hat throwing. There's no It's a different game.
Yeah.
Like coming at it from that angle means that like knowing that and accepting that as you're playing it. I think
that's the thing, right? Like meeting the game where it is at, but on its terms is important.
Like I'm pretty sure I didn't do Bowser's Fury before I did 3D World. We did half of 3D World and then I did Bowser's Fury. So I was already very much accustomed to what I was going to be playing.
Yeah.
I wasn't going into it. Yeah, I wasn't going into it being like I am going to play another Mario Odyssey level. It was like I'm going to play an Odyssey style thing, but like it's a 3D World.
It was nice playing Bowser's Fury first for me, I think. Just because like I wasn't done with the mechanics yet. I had to come to grips with them in that context first.
Yeah.
Which was good. But just very briefly, speaking of Galaxy, I did. I was upset I couldn't play Pokemon, and then I bought I bought 3D World and Bowser's Fury, and I was like, that's installing. I want to play Mario now though. Let me play more Galaxy, because I've been playing it more since I haven't been able to play Pokemon, and it's been fun. It was good. I think it's dropped down on my list in terms of how much I like it though.
Really?
Having completed it finally in the 3D All-Stars collection. And I realized what my favorite part of the game is the last thing you do when you're completing the game. So I leave the game with a really high impression, but the middle 70 stars, or maybe even more like 80 or 90 stars, I don't find as engaging as I remember them being.
Is that because you've already done it though?
It will be partially that's for sure. And they're memorable enough that I recognize them as I'm going through them now, so it does feel a bit repetitive.
Yeah, like just quick aside, I will definitely remember basically every moon in Odyssey if I go to replay that again. Like I will just...
I don't think I'll remember everyone just because like I didn't pay attention that much to each one. It was a lot of like, there's one here, there's one there, there's one over there. I'll go over there. That looks like something. I'll go there. Like there's so many that I hardly paid attention to that I just.
But even if it's like just like if I go to look at the description or if I go and see a puzzle I've done before in Odyssey, which is all of them because I 100% of that game, I will remember the solution very quickly. I will look at that and go, I actually remember how to do this. Like this is not new.
Yeah. But yeah, the part I love the most about Galaxy is the cleanup and all the comets, all of the like challenge stars that appear more towards the end, the like 100 purple coin collection levels and the time limited like boss rush or the one hit KO modified levels or the Luigi chases. Like going through all of those difficult ones is really satisfying, and it was especially satisfying playing this a good like 12, 13 years after I originally beat it twice. I think I did 120 star with Mario and Luigi originally over time. Was getting to the levels that I recognized because they gave me and my brother such a hard time at the time.
Yeah.
Like this one Ice Planet, the 100 purple coin collection, that there's somewhere there are spares and there's somewhere you have to find literally all of them on the level. And I got this one first try, and this was one that like we struggled with for ages. Like we'd get to the top and we'd fall off to our death and we have to collect all of them again. Or like we couldn't find the last two and then we accidentally fell off. Or we found the last two, but then we jumped wrongly and then messed it all up.
Yeah.
Or like this challenge level where like the floor disappears from under you. You're like running across a 2D depiction of like Luigi made up out of like green disappearing tiles and yellow like spinning tiles. And there's more than 100 coins there, but you've only got like 2 minutes to go across the whole thing, leave a path for yourself to get back to where the star spawns when you get coins, and get back there in enough time and collect enough coins. That one wrecked us for like weeks when I played that originally. And it was such a triumph when I did it second try in this time. And it felt so satisfying. And that's that mastery of control of like, oh no, I earned this like half my life ago and I still have it. This is like riding a bike, and that's what feels so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am sad that I didn't enjoy a lot of this game as much as I wanted to, but I'm so happy that I did get to go all the way through, and I did find that enjoyment more towards the end. I think I would have been really sad if that last cleanup hadn't really excited me in the way that it did the first time.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
You're going to go Galaxy 2? It's fucking not on the Switch. God,
it's not on the Switch. I did think about it. I mean, my Wii's right up there. Like, I can pull it out and try. I don't know where to put my sensor bar with my projector setup, but it's a whole hassle is the thing.
Yep.
So maybe not.
Oh, just put 2 candles wherever you want.
Yeah, cats might knock them over though.
Tell them not to.
They don't listen to me. You cats.
Yeah.
That's it for the episode, everybody.
That's it.
Thanks so much for listening. A jam-packed episode. Jeremy, what are we doing next week?
Next week we are talking about Square Enix.
Oh.
And
why are we talking about them, Jeremy?
Because everybody and their dog thinks that they want to get bought.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about who might want to buy them, why they want to get bought, reasons that, you know,
where they've come from.
Yeah. Things that they might have done in the past, like 12 to 24 months that you might think, yeah, you're actually just leaning yourself up to get purchased. Just about
very interesting company right now.
Square Enix and who they want to be.
Who they want to be when they get bought.
Who they want to be when they get bought. You know, like maybe they want to get bought by Sega. You know, Sega bought Rovio today. Or
did that go through?
They've entered an agreement to buy Rovio.
Okay. Like, so it's in the stage that Microsoft is with Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, without the FTC.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. So we'll talk about it next week. We'll have all the answers next week.
Yeah, we'll tell you who will buy Square Enix.
If you're curious about that, be sure to tune in next week to the MiniMapCast, episode 150. That being said, we're going to finish episode 149 right now. Thank you so much for listening. This is another great episode in the books. Enjoyed last week's and this week's quite a lot. If you don't want to miss next week's episode, it comes out every Wednesday. We stream it every Monday evening. And if you want to be notified, you can follow all of our socials. That's at MiniMapAU. You can follow us individually as well. Jeremy, where can they follow you on Twitter?
At OB1Jez.
You can follow me on Twitter at KJPalmer_24. You can also head to minimap.com.au for absolutely everything else Minimap related, including the Minidisc podcast. Like I mentioned, Soma before is a good one. Latest article we published. Jeremy's working on something fun and interesting, sort of born out of the last week's news. I won't give up the ghost on that one, but that'll be coming down the pipe.
Yeah, it's about dreams, and the only reason I bring that up is because like I've got Twitter on my side monitor. Like there's dreams news happening like as of like an hour ago with one of the co-founders leaving.
Oh wow, that is big.
Yeah. So Media Molecule's going through a phase.
Media molecule metamorphosis.
Yeah,
it's podcast title right there.
Yeah, good lead.
Write that down, quick.
Yeah, very relevant to the entire episode we just had.
Oh yeah, no, not this episode. No, a different episode.
Yeah.
For those of you that are live with us on Twitch, stick around. We're about to start the post show. Who knows? We might even talk about Star Wars again, like we did last week. For those of you listening later, make sure to give us those so tasty 5-star ratings. It helps us out a lot. And consider joining us next week if you're around for the live show. Lastly, you can also support us on Patreon. If you want to help keep the lights and mics on, you can do that by heading on over to patreon.com/minimapau. And for $5 Australian dues, you'll get 24 hours of early access for all episodes of the MiniMapCast, as well as some more benefits, all while helping us out greatly. We're going to go. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. And we'll see you next week with Square Enix.
Goodbye.